Welcome back to another episode of Global Card Collectors, and I think we've got quite a different guest today. His name is Aaron Falvey. Did I get that right? Is that how I say it?
You did. Well done.
Perfect. And I think when I started looking into what he does, I'd probably describe him as a storyteller because he tells stories through film, and he tells stories through children's books. So, Aaron, I'm probably giving you a pretty lame introduction, but if you can maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself as a creator, and also maybe a little bit about yourself as a card collector.
Yeah, sure. So my interest for filmmaking came at a young age of 9, and it sort of all came about with I grew up in the country, right, and I didn't have a lot of things around me, resources, that sort of thing, and I get a call from my neighbour, hey, we've just got this new handy cam. Do you want to come round and we'll have a play with it? Started making these little mini action films, little ninja fights, and we'd be like, and like we were doing all this sort of stuff, and it just became this click, right? It was like a switch turned on, and it was like, this is what I'm seriously interested in. So from there, it just grew into a lot of things. I mean, and a lot of that stemmed from from watching movies. Like I would watch a movie and I'd be like, I wonder how they did that. And I remember I was quite young, so you'll have to, don't hold this against me, but I saw the behind the scenes for Jaws, and I might have been like 9 or 10 years old. And it intrigued me how the hell they had this shark in the water, this mechanical shark. And it was just like, man, they made that look so real. I believed it. And it was just like, that's kind of where the interest grew from. Mm-hmm. And it's just snowballed from there. It's like everything we do, even like card collecting, for example, we go through like phases of going right into it, deep into it. You're collecting deep, and then you'll have a little break from it. You'll push away, and your interests sway between that and other things in life. And that's certainly been the case for me and my card collecting too. So, so essentially, I'm a film director. I'm based in Blenheim, New Zealand. So probably the most unusual place to have a filmmaker come from, because we don't have a hell of a lot of resources in Blenheim, and a lot of what I've had to do to be able to make films has been from building everything from the ground up, starting with the community and building other people's interests so that we could all work together to make films. And I guess Northspur, which was my first feature film, which is a post-apocalyptic action drama, which was all privately funded, so we didn't have any assistance from Film Commission or anything like that, was a massive feat for us to be able to film that over 3 weeks in Blenheim. The ironic thing, we shot it in November of 2019, and I remember thinking, man, this is just such a cool experience. But one of the things, or one of the ideas in the film, is that there's this pandemic going around. And the funny thing was, in November 19, the same sort of murmurings we started to hear about COVID, right? Mm-hmm. And then come March 2020, we're all locked in a lockdown, and I was sitting there going, oh man, was it me? Was it the curse I've done through my film? And it was just so coincidental, right? It was just, I felt a sense of responsibility. So as funny as that sounds, it was, like my ideas are coming to life.
Awesome.
Reality sense. So yeah.
So making that film without any major funding, let's say from the New Zealand Film Commission,
yes.
Was it a little bit like Be Kind, Rewind, where you kind of had to be a little bit creative with how you were doing certain things, or you asked for favors from a friend, or your filming locations were like, at your own house, or that kind of thing? Anything specific that comes to mind?
Yeah, well, there were some major achievements in that film. I think the major thing for me was that we all tested ourselves, and we realized that, hey, you can make a feature film anywhere. It doesn't have to be Wellington or Auckland. You can do this. One of the big achievements for me was the fact that we actually built a cabin
Sorry.
So the film, yeah, that's all right. So the film is based around a cabin, all right, and a lot of the action, happens in this cabin. So we actually couldn't find what we needed, so we ended up building a cabin. Cost us $8,000 to build it, and it's kind of like, I think it's like 20 feet by 20 feet, and it's got a full floor, full walls, a roof, and we did it in like a couple of months. It was crazy. It was just all people, all volunteers came out. We'd do it in our weekend time. We'd be banging nails, we'd be cutting wood, drilling holes for posts. It was crazy. And
Wow.
like, I'm not a builder, but here I am with a hammer and nail, like whacking stuff and thinking, is this the right spot? Does this look good? Am I working hard? Like it was weird, but there was a lot of cool things that happened on that set. Like we had some fairly well-known Australasian actors. We had Michael Hurst, who's been in
Wow.
a lot of
Wow.
stuff, and he was a real pleasure to work with. Like he was the nicest guy, and he's become a mentor for me. And he's so hugely experienced. It was just, I guess, the fact that he said yes to being in the film says something about the script, because actors these days, especially veteran, experienced actors, aren't just going to take anything, right? They're going to,
Hmm.
it's something that they're drawn to. And so we had a response from Michael the same day that we sent his agent the script. He said, I'm in. Didn't
Wow.
didn't know anything about our budgetary restrictions or anything. Um, and the other major score we had was Marshall Napier, who was, again, he's like an Australasian powerhouse based in Australia but from New Zealand. And probably the most well known New Zealand films would be like Came a Hot Friday, and
Cool.
he was in Bellbird. I don't know if you ever saw that one. He was the main old guy in that film. So he'd just come off the success of Bellbird, and I was like, hey, like it'd be really cool to cast this guy for the film. So let's cast him, and we'll see what he says. And his agent came back, and there was a lot of toing and froing, and I wasn't really getting the answer I wanted from him. I said, look, Natasha, is there a chance that Marshall's want to do this? And she's like, I'm 90% sure he's going to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like we're actually start. And essentially, we cast everybody that we asked first in these roles. They were the people that we wanted were the people that we got. And
Wow.
I thought that was a real achievement, because and obviously our main lead actor, who I'm really good friends with, is Josh McKenzie, and Josh is incredibly talented young guy, and he's currently on a new TV series in MBS. So it's a Canadian TV series called The Hunting Party. It's currently airing on American television, so check that one out. He's one of the lead actors in that, and he was also in a TV series called La Brea. So he comes straight off Northspur, went straight into La Brea for 3 seasons. That was shot in Melbourne. It's kind of like a big, massive sinkhole opening up in La Brea, America, or California, or something like that, or Los Angeles, sorry. And again, he was a season regular. So I knew when I cast him, I went, man, this guy is incredibly talented. There's something about his charisma on screen where it's like, man, you're incredibly talented. And he just stood out from the rest of them. And the funny thing was, I didn't know who Josh was until a friend of mine said, hey, you need to have Josh audition for this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. That's fine, because never heard of him and haven't looked back. And he's the nicest guy, and he's actually a card collector too.
Wow. Wow. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
It's
So,
really
yeah,
nice to hear a little
yeah,
bit of behind the scenes stuff about what you're doing as a filmmaker, what your passion is, and I think it's interesting that on top of that you were able to do it on such a short budget, but get some pretty big name guys to film with you.
yeah.
Could you tell the listeners and the viewers where we can find your stuff and how we can and watch your films? Because I did see one of your short films, and it was on I think it's on your YouTube channel,
Yep.
and it was called
So,
Undertow, and I loved it because I
oh,
think it definitely holds a universal theme inside it. So we all deal with loss in our own way. So what I liked about it, and you talked about script beforehand as well, and it's not even just the words that the actors say. That in that I felt like it was a lot of the silent moments where you would just have scene setting shots, or you would just have a moment where you would capture your characters' faces and the emotions that they showed on them. And I thought they acted really well as a whole too. So I think there's something to be said about somebody reading through your script and understanding that there's some nuance behind just the words that they say. There's also the way that it's portrayed without words, and that's what I loved about the short film too.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Well, Undertow is something I guess that was, close to my heart. Like everybody knows somebody who's passed away either firsthand or, like through other people that have committed suicide, which is not an easy topic to deal with. So that was only the second script that I'd ever written. And when I put pen to paper and got it down, it just flowed really nicely, and I felt incredibly passionate about that film. And probably for the first time ever, because that's I think my most recent short film. I've done a couple since then, but when I did it, I had this real sense of clarity, and just everything just made sense, and I knew exactly how I wanted it for the first time ever, because a lot of the scripts that I've done are not my own. So, and it's really hard as a director to understand a writer's nuance, and all those little quirks and little bits and pieces. It's very hard sometimes to pick up on that. But as the writer, completely understood what I want, and it was just like a real pleasure and a real emotional experience being able to get it exactly how I want. And I'm so proud of those actors too. Pretty amazing actors, but local talent.
Wow.
Again, yeah, YouTube. My YouTube channel has all my short films on it. So you can look up Aaron Falvey, just my name, and you'll find me on there. I've got like a list of all the short films. I think it's called Falvation Films. That's my alias. And Northspur is available to rent on iTunes or YouTube. So it's currently available for people to rent. And yeah, please support it. We got it on that platform with a lot of hard work and determination, and now it's available for everyone to watch and enjoy. So I hope you do enjoy it if you watch it.
Yeah.
Love your feedback.
Hey, do you want to talk a little bit about the passion that we share as well, which is card collecting, and how
Absolutely.
it began for you, and how it somehow maybe even connected to your passion as a filmmaker as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I still remember the first types of cards I ever saw. So I grew up in the 80s, and the first packet of cards I ever opened was a packet of Garbage Gang.
Yeah,
They are the coolest cards ever. I still remember the smell of the bubble gum, like you would open the packet, you'd go, give it like 3 bites, spit it out, and just look at the cards, right? And you'd be like, what 3 cards did I get? And I was like, oh, cool. And that was my first buzz. So I must have been maybe 6 or 7 years old when these cards came out. And I remember, grew up in the country. I remember getting taken into the local dairy, which was a 10-minute drive down the road. Get out of the car, spend your 50 cents or 25 cents, whatever it was, a packet. And that was like the first thing that was like, man, opening cards is actually really fun. And another one of my favorite pastimes was WWF Wrestling Series 1 to 3.
Yeah, cool.
Wow, that is such a cool set. And that's, we'll talk a little bit about that in more depth, I think. But I still remember when Series 3 came out, and I don't know if you know much about the wrestling series, but the Ultimate Warrior is like an incredibly hard card to find. I pulled it in my first pack. My one and only Ultimate Warrior card, and I still have it, and it's still in my collection today. It's still my number 1 card.
It's a card I'm chasing, actually. I'm hoping
it's a hard card to find in good condition.
Hard card to find in good condition. Definitely, completely agree with that, because they're so old now, and there were no sleeves back then. We couldn't really take perfect care of it. So I've seen some of those high graded Ultimate Warrior cards go for a lot of money. But I'm searching
for my mind. Yeah. It's crossed my mind. Maybe I should get it graded.
Yeah, why not? There's you can obviously go through PCG or PSA. There's a whole bunch of New Zealanders who are like middlemen who help you like with submissions and that kind of thing. So it's possible. Cool. I mean, if it's in great condition, I'd recommend it, because it just it'll be displayable, but at the same time, it will stop it from getting any further damage because it's inside the plastic.
Well, one thing that bothered me about that set was the fact that there was only 5,000 of those albums made. You've probably seen the little narrow albums.
Yeah, sure.
I never got one when I was a kid. So and the ridiculous price that they go for. It's like, you're paying a few $100 for this plastic album. And so I want to show you something that I did to counter not being able to get one for a reasonable price.
Oh wow, cool! Oh wow, so
Actually,
you found the title and kind of just made it yourself?
it's custom made, and it's exactly like the other one, except
Exactly,
for
like
it
it's
runs
just
through the
huge,
middle.
yeah. Because the other
But it
one, like you
fits.
say, yeah, it's a third the size.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool! Yeah, that looks great. Because
Yeah,
also
and
in that album, the quality of those sleeves are not very good, and so they're not gonna
no,
do
you're
very
right
well
about
for your
that.
cards. Oh yeah, that's a nice condition, all right. Even from this distance, you can tell that if it's
Yeah,
looked up,
that's the one I pulled from the box. So,
incredible.
and I don't know, have you ever talked to Shannon, the guy
So
that?
he's been on the show before, so he's got
So
ridiculous cards.
he would have shown you these four random cards that were never actually produced.
Amazing. No, I don't think he showed me those specific ones. No, very cool.
So they were part of a test run. They were never part of the actual set. So
That's
unless you
right.
worked at the factory or like Shannon talked to the guy and bought them off them,
Hmm.
pretty much impossible to get.
Yeah, amazing.
So
Yeah, it's funny because so we've had Shannon on the show, and he talked about his relationship with Bushwhacker Butch.
yeah,
And so there's a real kind of underground cult following in New Zealand of these specific cards. I think they're probably the most international of our cards because of that warrior card. I
yeah,
talked
that's
to
right.
I talked to another buddy of mine who was on the show as well, and he's got the little folder, the small tiny one. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
it's on
thing
my
in New
list.
Zealand.
On my list to get. I
Yeah,
missed
for
out on
sure.
one recently. It went for $50, just an empty one. Should have
Ah,
jumped on. That would
ah,
have been a good buy.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's just we get sometimes the cards we don't get, but it is what it
Yeah,
is. You'll find it sooner or later. You'll get one.
yeah, yeah. You just got to actively be looking for it and have it on your watch list on Trade Me for safe searches.
100%. Yeah. So
I feel
you
like
went.
I'll end up getting that from one of the Facebook groups, though. I feel like there's better deals to be done through the Facebook group because people that are on there are actively looking for cards. They're actively looking for connections, right? And I feel like that's probably the best place to get it. But hey, look, I've got some awesome deals off Trade Me as well. I'm sure
Yeah,
you
agreed.
have too.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Agreed.
Yeah.
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 So you went from Garbage Gang to the WWF New Zealand
Yep.
wrestling cards. What else were you collecting back then?
So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All right.
That was a series one. We never got series two in New Zealand, but that's actually a set I'm currently trying to finish off. So series two was an American release set, so we never saw them here. But I've got most of the set somehow. I don't know how I managed to achieve that, but got a few holes to fill, and that's another one I want to finish. What else did we have? Um, Goonies cards.
These cards, I
I
remember those too.
love the Goonies. It's like one of my favorite movies. It's such an adventure, and just to have the cards. In fact, that's a set I've done only recently completed, maybe in the last 3 or 4 months, and
Wow.
yeah, I'm just passing on all my spares to other people. So I've just done up several dollar trade me auctions at the moment, dollar reserve, just to help other people fill gaps because I know what it's like to try and pluck and pull cards. It's just like, yeah, it's like there's two different types of card collectors, right? There's those that want to make top dollar and those that want to help others, and that's the kind of people that I love dealing with, and I've met some really cool people through the card community that love sharing and just love helping, that have been in it for a lot longer than I have.
Have
And I
you
think there's something
consistently been
satisfying
collecting
about
cards?
that. Sorry?
Have you consistently been collecting cards? So just all the way
No,
through?
no, no. No, that's one of those things where been going through waves. So I remember after doing those sort of early movie cards, I stepped away and then I came back about 1995 for the NBA craze, where
Yeah.
NBA cards were just hot property, like everyone was getting them and it was the cool thing to do. And I'd see people ripping cards and waving around like Michael Jordan's, and I'm going, oh man, how cool would it be? Never ever pulled one decent card in all the packs that I bought of basketball. And for me, that was a real bittersweet era, like it was like I see all three of these other guys, and one of my friends who I've been friends with at school, he has the hugest Michael Jordan collection, and he's just got the coolest cards ever, and it's like, I should have kept at it, but it was at that point I had a break for quite a period of time, almost up till probably lockdown. Yeah, it was a quite a long break. And I don't know whether you're the same, but it's
Yep, me
lockdown
too.
really made you go back through your collections, go, what else do I need? Yeah,
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Mine was more like in my head. I was like, I cannot get cards anymore. It's only America, but I wasn't even thinking about just going online and seeing what I could do to ship it over to where I was living, which is here in Turkey. So um,
yep,
that's when I started getting back into it. Was online because I was started to watch these videos of people who had collections, and I was like, yeah, this isn't as hard as it used to be. There should be ways around it now. And going back to New Zealand last year and seeing how popular card collecting is now, and it's
yep,
only getting bigger. It's only getting bigger there. It's huge over there at the moment. So pretty cool time
yep.
to be a card collector in New Zealand for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember when the wrestling cards through lockdown like skyrocketed in price, and I still
Yeah,
remember it was like sets going on Trade Me for like $1,000 when an album. It's like, holy moly, where's my collection? I'm going to get mine out. I'm going to
that's
start looking through all my stuff, and yeah, I just like collecting cards and sorting through your cards is like it's like flicking the off switch from real life. Like it's like
right.
forget about everything else, just indulge in looking at cards. And I love the thrill of the chase. I love the thrill of finishing a set. And I guess networking has always been a skill of mine and something that I've used throughout my life. And so I've been able to make some really good networks, and people are going, man, how did you track that card down? And just got my ways about doing things, but yeah, like it's just great to be able to have people that want to help you. I think, and you'll know what I mean. Like you're trying to track down stuff, and people go out of their way to help you. And I've had some people that have been trying to finish a set, and I've needed one card, and they've gone, "Hey, look, I reckon I can finish the set. I'm going to give you the card that you need so you can finish your set." And it's like that's just such a selfless act, right? It's just it's good. It's nice to be able to deal with people like that.
I've found that to be the case in New Zealand too. The New Zealand card collecting community is honestly it's second to none.
Mm,
They're a real community like that. If you say I like this character, I like this player, I like this set
yep.
of cards, and you're speaking to the right group of people, they're going to look out for that for you, and they're going to say, "Look, I found this one." The amount of messages I've got from friends who I've made through the channel from New Zealand who have
Mm,
just come and sent me a message randomly, just like, "Look, this I think you'll like this. Will why don't you go and have a look and see if you can get it?" And I'm like, "Thanks,
yeah.
man." Like it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah. Yeah.
happen everywhere. It does not happen everywhere. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
No,
we're very
that's
lucky.
yep for sure. It's yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I'm trying to bring my kids up. I've got four kids, and my youngest son is taking an interest in Pokemon. So, and I know that you have a shared interest
Yeah,
in Pokemon through your
yeah,
family too.
yeah.
So that's been fun. He pulled a really good card the other day, which made me a bit jealous. But it was called Tinkerton,
All
the
right.
character. And he ended up selling it on trade. He's like, "Dad, sell it for me. I want the money. I want to go and buy a PlayStation game." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm in to get like $50 for it or something. And it's like, but probably
That's
doesn't have the same sentimental value for him yet. He's only 7 years old. So yeah.
so. All four of your kids into cars, or just the youngest? Or
Just the youngest, really. My oldest was as well. So I've got two girls, two boys. My oldest started collecting Pokemon for a while. She actually just donated all her cards back to me. So I didn't have anything decent, but like I'm a hoarder. So I'll just add it to my big growing pile of cards that's taking up my whole cupboard. Yeah. I've got
how
my
big do you
own,
think your
my own.
collection is now? Then, if
Huh?
you're a hoarder, how big is your collection at home? How many
Oh,
cars do you
it's
think
Look, I've got like a single door storage cupboard, and it's pretty full. And I've culled out a lot of my excess cards. So I would hate to. I have never counted, and I'd hate to go and make a number up. I don't. I've got a very modest collection. It's nothing super valuable, or like those highly expensive cards have never been a big thing for me. Like it's just about I'm really passionate about the 80s and 90s cards. That for me, that's the stuff that I love.
Awesome. Specific sets? Any sets or cards that you want to talk
Yeah,
to us
well, I
about
mean,
or share with
obviously,
us?
I saw the wrestling one, which is that's to me probably the ultimate. I've got a couple of other ones, and I don't know whether you saw my opening video I did, but I did a set called Dinosaurs Attack,
Wow.
and I came across this about 3 years ago, and I ended up collecting. I bought, I'd say, maybe 50 packs of cards at like some ridiculous price, like $1 or $2 each. And I fell in love with this set. They are the coolest cards ever. And the other cool thing about them is that the backs of them are all different as well. They've put so much effort into these cards. Um, I just love the artwork. It's comical, but it's like they're just so nicely done. I think these are maybe an 80s set, if I remember, 1988. Let me have a 1988. Yeah, so probably one of my earlier collections. I've got a couple of packs there that I haven't opened just to keep there as part of the memorabilia. And that set is 55 cards and 11 stickers. So the stickers are, I mean, I don't know whether this is how you normally do your shows, but
No,
yeah,
you're
there's.
good. You're good.
And these came with bubble gum. So the other bad thing about these was the bubble gum was always stuck to the sticker card, which was in some ways good, in some ways bad. But man, the bubble gum was pretty munted. Like it was, you wouldn't want to eat it. That's for sure. And I mean, you probably wouldn't anyway. But yeah, they've kind of got like the bubble gum stains on some of them. So yeah, but one of my favorite sets, if not my favorite set. The other card series, which I'm pretty passionate about, is Garbage Gang, New
Yeah,
Zealand
cool.
Garbage Gang. So I have the entire series 1 to 3 with the variation of all of them. There's obviously the very famous, is it Blasted Billy or Atom
That's the
Bomb?
one. Hmm.
Yeah, oh, there's Atom Bomb there. Funny story about those. When I was pulling out my collection, I had about 4 or 5 atom bombs. I ended up selling 2 really, really average ones that had like dog ears and all sorts of stuff to an American buyer who was desperate to get them. Gave me $150 for 2.
Wow. Wow. And
Not
is
even
that just
graded.
because of the New Zealand variation?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So, and I think shipping was something ridiculous by the time I packed it for like $30 or something like that to send 2 cards. And this guy didn't even hesitate. He's just like, and that for me, I think is probably the most iconic trade I've ever done. You know, like, I mean, it's not big money, but it's like for me, I was pretty buzzing off 2 cards that just happened to be sitting in a pile of junk. You know.
That's right.
So yeah, like I said, like this set most definitely the hardest set I've ever tried to collect. I had a huge amount from when I was a kid, but I've had to upgrade a huge amount of the cards as well. Yeah, all the backs are all different. Obviously, you can, I don't know if you've ever collected them, but they had like jigsaw puzzle on the back. So when you put them all together, it makes one big poster picture.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's something I'm incredibly proud of. I ended it at season 3 because I feel like they were the first 3 were like the best of all of them, and I've also got the wrapper from the original.
Oh, wow.
It got given to me again. Another really kind person that was just willing to help me out. They had heaps of them. Uh, yeah. So in terms of sets, yeah, that's probably my pick.
Can you just remind me about why they had, like, for example, the same image on the card, but they'd named the character 2 different names? I can't remember. I remember one of my friends telling me. I've just forgotten about why they did
You
that.
know, I'm embarrassed because I can't even remember why that is. Why they did A and B? They're like A and B variations, but why? We might have to Google that somehow while we chat. I feel bad. I should be more knowledgeable about them, but
Yeah, my guess from memory, and I might be completely wrong, but it was just basically to flesh out a second set. I know I could be completely wrong about that, but it feels logical, maybe.
yeah, well, I don't know whether it just added to the challenge or what, but yeah, and I mean, Australian had, I think they had a different variation. It's funny, like so many different parts of the world have their different cards, right? I think we were the only ones, maybe UK, that had Garbage Gang. Everyone else was Garbage Pail Kids.
That's right.
Obviously, that was a really big American thing. I never pursued them, never followed them. But yeah, I guess it's each to their own, right? You
Hmm.
just go for what you like and what you love, and yeah, there's
There's even
something
some
very unique
new
about it.
there's even some new Garbage Pail Kids sets out now, and they're kind of like semi-chrome finish on the
Yep.
stickers, but they're very popular.
I did dabble in a pack probably maybe 4 years. I bought a hobby box or something, and I got
Hmm.
like a short print card which was pretty cool. It was called a gold splatter. It was during the Halloween series, I think. Had like a gold splatter card which was one of 50, and I was like, that's probably the coolest card I've ever pulled. But ended up selling that one. I wasn't passionate about it, and I just thought, let's just get it to somebody else that needs it and wants it, you know. So as you do,
Perfect.
you got to sometimes you got to keep rotating stock to keep things going. You can't always afford the hobby without selling something.
And that's what it is, right? Like I think
Yeah,
sometimes you gotta, even if you have the card for a moment, it's that moment is going to be enough for you sometimes. And there are some cards that you're never going to let go, but some cards you're like,
yep,
I've had my moment with it. Now I can use it for other things. I think I was
yep,
telling you off air as well. Getting back to film cards, the one of one card that I had with the 6 autographs of all
mm,
those Marvel characters. A massive
yep,
card, big card, loved it and enjoyed it. And there was a time where it was just financially better for me to sell it and move it forward because I kind of needed the cash a little bit more than I needed the card. And I knew
yep,
that the buyer, he loved it. Like I was trying to sell it at a show and he
yep,
must have come back to the table 10 times. Can I just have another look at the card? And I'm like, I know he's going to buy it. And at
yeah,
least
yeah,
I
yeah,
knew it was going to a good home. And he would just look at it and he'd just smile and, oh, great, put it back. He'd walk away, come back. We made a
yep,
little
yep, yep.
deal. And I mean, I definitely appreciated the money at that time. And I know that he appreciates the card. And very, very likely he's never going to sell it. So again, it's moving the card to a home that
Yeah,
wants it.
that's right.
And at the same time, I had my moment with it. And it was a great moment. I had about a year with it
Absolutely. Yeah.
and now
I
I can
remember
move on
watching
from
the
it.
video
So
going, man, what a card to pull,
yeah,
or what a card to win.
yeah, for sure. So when it
And
was,
that wasn't the only luck you had that day, right?
oh, it was crazy. That guy was crazy. So
Crazy luck.
yeah, that was up at the Auckland Card Show, and it just felt like it was my day. Like before that, I think my daughter was up the front, and she was just like, I want to get a pack, and so she's in the line, and she gets a pack of cards, and it's got a card number to 10 of a really good basketball player named
Yeah, I
Dyson
think I saw
Daniels.
that video. Yeah,
And then
that's crazy luck.
later on,
Yes,
I get the one of one, and then at the end of the day, I find out that I've won $250
yeah.
to spend at Blunt, which was incredible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Probably paid for you. Oh, was that to buy? What did you end up buying with that? You bought a booster
Um,
box or something,
I
other
got a
ones, didn't
booster
you?
box of I can't remember what set it was from, but it was definitely basketball. But I can't remember
Yeah,
which
that's,
one. It might be Revolution. It was Revo. Yeah, I like
yeah, that's
Revolution.
cool.
So yeah,
Oh well,
very
good
good.
for you, man. I don't think I've had such luck with that side of things, but yeah, I mean, it's you got to take these opportunities. And I wish I could go to the New Zealand card show, but it's happening on my birthday. It's the
Ah,
day of my birthday, and I've already got other plans. And I kind of already tentatively, I think I'm going to have to just commit and say I'm going next year because I think I'd benefit from something like that. And you've been to them, you know what they're like, and
it's so
I
cool.
think it's open
It's
to
so
everybody.
cool. Like I can't rave about both the New Zealand Card Collectors Show and the Auckland Card Show enough.
Yep.
Both sets of organizers are great people. Like both
Yeah,
of
well,
them
Steve's great.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, both of them are great.
Steve
Like,
helped me Steve helped me finish my Goonies set.
oh, really?
That was my first introduction to him, maybe recently, actually. Again, like probably like 4 months ago. He had the last four cards I needed.
Oh, wow.
So
Is that Stephen Summers?
yes,
How cool. Very cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
He's
Steve Guinea, the organizer of the Auckland Card Show,
yep.
is also into that kind of card. So I was like, which one would have had that one? I was guessing Steve Summers first,
Yeah,
but I didn't
sorry,
surprise me the
I
other
should
Steve.
have. Yeah, I haven't actually met the other Steve.
Yeah, great lad too. Yeah, you'll like them. You like them both. I mean, obviously you
Yeah,
met Stephen Summers. He's top shelf guy, and I
yes.
don't know if you saw the video when I went down there, but he's got it's just this whole wall in his house, and it's just full from floor to ceiling of cards that he's collected over the years. Incredible.
Is he married?
Yes.
He's still married.
Yes. His wife's just like,
I'm not
let him do
allowed to
his
put a
thing. He's
display
going to
out.
do his thing.
I'm not allowed to put a display out. That's one of my rules for with my wife. But it is. I'm all right having them in the dark. It preserves them a bit longer.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, you mentioned what were some of my other cards, like some of my prize collection. So I mean, again, I don't have cards that are hugely valuable, but this is probably some stuff that. Oh, is that still working?
Yep. It sounds perfect.
My apologies. So Stephen Adams.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow.
That was numbered to, is it 100, I think? I can't read in this light. 199. That was like his first year that he was playing. So
Wow.
love this card. I'm not even a basketball person, right? But I love to collect a bit of everything, and that's just been one of those cards. I've got heaps of Stephen Adams cards, but that's my only auto that I have.
That's a great
That
order.
was a cool card for me. This is something that I've had for a while. This is a Michael Jordan.
Yeah, classic. Yeah.
And that was done by these dodgy guys that were doing grading from their basement, I believe.
Everyone
gets 10. So, and the reason I got this card was because, again, one of my friends from college pulled something very similar to this, and I'm like, I need a card like that in my collection. I'm old enough and wise enough. I can buy one of these now. So I ended up just buying it, and it's gone up in value, but so that's been great. Cool. Now here's something you can relate to, and this is actually a very recent acquisition.
Oh yeah, cool. Oh, very good, Jonah.
I came across these cards in a card shop in January.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell you how much I paid for them, but it was not much. Along with that, I also got from the same guy in his collection these
cool.
2 cards.
Yeah, those are great.
Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I have. I don't have.
That was a Sky
TV.
TV.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's like a Sky TV card. So
that's right.
Yep, I got. I'm thinking about getting these graded after watching your video about the top 10 Lomu sales. I watched that this morning, and I'm like, I've just happened to have some cards that are in pretty good condition. Maybe I should get them graded. Who would you recommend I get them graded with to get the best value? Would it be?
So have a good look at my recommendation would be have a good look at the cards. Like obviously with grading companies, they're looking at corners, edges, centering, and the surface as well. So even if you're looking under a little bit of a light just to see what the cards look like, that will give you enough indication of whether the surface is good. Check the corners and edges and see how good they are. Those Jonah Lomu ones in particular are just so super sensitive because the card stock is so thin, and so they can get damaged very, very easily. I mean, that's why that number 1 card sold for so much, was because all of those cards, you put them in those edges, when they would cut the cards, you can see on a lot of them, like the edges are frayed. And so to be able to get nice clean edges is tough. If you're going to grade them, like if you think it's going to go above an 8, then it will be worth it. But under an 8, maybe just go with PCG in New Zealand because it'll be a faster turnaround, and those slabs are real nice. Otherwise,
they look good.
If you think they're going to go over an 8, then I would look at sending them to PSA to see if you can get, because that way, down the line, if you wanted to sell them, then you get some value for money.
I've also got a spare one that's in my album that completed that set. So
so you got the full set of the dynamic marketing too. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I was quite a big rugby collector. I've got quite a few of the sets from back in the day. Also rugby league, also a bit of cricket too. Like I'm quite a sporty person, so which is why I've got a little surprise for you later to have a bit of fun. What else did I like? I mean, that was another one. Did you probably saw that series? That was from like '96, I believe. That was a Buck Shelford or Wayne Shelford. Right.
Yeah, so those
the Heroes in Black.
Yeah, those are all the inserts from the dynamic marketing set. So there's 5 of those, and there's
I think that was my only insert card from again my bad luck paying off, obviously. Wolverine, Deadpool.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I remember those.
Uh,
Those were so popular in the 90s. Did you
yeah,
collect
they
those as
were
well?
fun. A little bit. Yeah, I've not huge amount, but again, just I just buy cards that I like the look of, right? And these two are
Yeah.
just awesome. I love foil shiny cards, and
That
just again,
Wolverine in particular, I remember that card. My auntie and
yeah,
my cousin were collecting those Marvel cards while I was collecting basketball cards, and I always liked their collections just because the shine in those just really pops.
yeah, it's really good. They're really vibrant, and I'm actually looking at buying a couple of X-Men packs from like '95 or '96 just to do on my new venture that's starting up too. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I want to do more opening videos, and I've acquired pretty much everything I need. I really just need to have the motivation to record the videos now.
Yeah,
Lots of packs from the 80s and 90s to open. I've got like a basket full of them now. So
awesome.
definitely enough content to do it. I can't wait. Now, again, this is probably going to be quite hard to see, but this is a Macho Man Randy Savage
Oh wow, yeah,
autograph
cool.
card.
Is that like a facsimile order or an on card
Yeah,
order?
yeah, yeah. It's not a legit one, so it's just a gold. But it was just one of those cards that I came across. The guy was just selling a bundle. I actually got this from Australia, I believe, along with a whole lot of other wrestling cards. And I was just like I think everyone loves the Macho Man in some way,
Yeah,
regardless of the fact he was probably considered a bad guy or a heel. Like he's
yeah,
still an iconic character, and that's just again one of those cards, along with the Bushwhackers, that you just love and have to add to your collection, right?
yeah, for sure, for sure. And obviously with those New Zealand wrestling cards, you've got the Macho King card there too, which is quite valuable apparently, according to Shannon as well. The Dusty Rhodes and the
Yes.
Macho King
Yep.
are
Again.
also pretty valuable ones as well.
Yeah, and also Widowmaker, I believe his name was from that series, was also
Okay.
a really hard card. A relatively unknown wrestler, though. I can hardly remember him from back in the day. Used to watch a lot of wrestling, but I can hardly remember him as a wrestler. So he must have had a fairly short career.
Yeah,
If
it felt
I'm
like to me like he was like the preview to almost like the Undertaker because he was very dark and he had the big
yeah,
hats and that kind of stuff. So maybe
yeah, so
pre Undertaker, but just not as popular.
yeah. All right. Well, hey, look, I want to do a little thing for you. And look, as part of the show, it wouldn't be a card show without a card pack opening, right?
Oh,
So
good,
let's
very
open
good,
the pack. But here's the fun part for you. I'm going to let you select which pack I open, and I'm going to open it right here, right now. All right.
awesome.
So I know that you're a sport fan. We've got a pack of Futura rugby. I don't know if you can see this back to front.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah,
see it
yeah,
back to front. So this is a 1996 rugby union pack, 9 cards in that one.
yeah.
We have a cricket set here, 1996 as well.
That's a high velocity,
Uh,
yeah.
high velocity, yeah. And we've also got a
Gina Rugby, yeah, yeah, very
Virginia
cool.
rugby pack.
Oh, it's a tough.
So,
It's going to be
Paul,
out of the
which one
two
would
rugby
you like me
ones,
to
I think.
open?
It's going to be out of the two
Uh,
rugby ones.
okay, let's
From
put them here.
memory, I think the insert cards in Australian ones you can get some in the packs.
Yeah, well,
There's
this
one
is
that's
Michael Liner.
that's right. I think that Michael Liner one might be a redemption card, but I have a feeling there might
Okay.
be some other numbered cards in there too. So let's go
Yep,
with
there
that
is
one because
actually.
it
I'm
might
just
have
looking on
some
the
rare
back here.
stuff.
Okay. All right, let's do it. All right, I'll try not to butcher the card pack opening. This is the first time I've done this really on screen. So yeah, 9 packs. Sorry, 9
Well, I
cards.
mean, yeah, and I'm
All
not super
right.
familiar with the Aussies, but let's go see
No,
if
I'm
we can get
not
a
really
numbered card.
either. I've never opened a pack of these. All right, so we've got George Gregan, Wallabies.
Nice, nice.
I have to read this back to front. Who we got? Rod McCall, 1995 World Cup retrospective.
Rob McCall, from memory, was on television for a while, but it might be another Rob.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's this one? Brett Johnson, Queensland Rugby. I thought that was some sort of wee signature, looking at it briefly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't make the Australian team, obviously, because Gregan had that locked up.
Yep. Is that Gordon? Gordon. That's all it says, Gordon.
All right. No
Okay.
clue. Maybe that's a club name?
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Yep, New South Wales. There you go.
That looks like Matt Burke.
Sorry, I'm not doing a great job with these,
No,
sorry,
you're right.
but
That looks like Matt Burke.
Matthew Burke, well, he was a classic player.
Yeah, he was a class act. He was a real quality player.
Oh, what's this one?
Who's that guy?
That is Peter Slattery.
No, never heard of him, but
Never
probably,
heard of him.
probably a decent rugby player. There's Campo.
Oh, yes, David Campese. He might be, a good one to keep.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've got something special here because there's actually something. Maybe we'll do that one last. Oh my God. All right, so I'm going to do it last. I
All
think I've
right.
actually got something decent, believe it or not.
Mark
What's this?
someone? I don't know, but he's playing
Mark
for the World Cup.
Hartle.
All
Yeah.
right.
Uh, okay, how do we do this? How do I do this without butchering it? So that was the other car,
He's the
David
Campo, yeah.
Campese.
And
All
it's a
right, what have we
Wallabies
got here?
player.
Oh, really? The back's completely different. I thought it's like either a redemption card or something.
Yeah.
Not quite the case. Again, a Wallabies card. So that's Matthew Peeney,
All right.
fullback. Never heard of
All
him.
right. I don't think he played as much because there were. I mean, the outside backs at that time in Australia was just stacked. So hard to make that
Yes.
Wallaby squad back then. That was
Yeah.
fun. That was fun. Thanks
Yeah.
for that,
Well,
man.
yeah, no worries. I was hoping to get a major hit and like your video's going to skyrocket and you're going to get all these views on your video, but not the case. But you can always clickbait that one in the thumbnail, right? Major call. Yeah.
Well,
So, but
we've got a Gregan and
a Gregan and a
Campo. So not bad.
Campese,
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
not bad at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean they're what Hall of Fame rugby players now, aren't they? Campo is at least, and Gregan has to be in the
absolutely, yeah,
conversation.
and yeah, obviously that George Gregan again. It's cool looking card.
Yeah, very good, very good.
But
So
I
you've
mean,
just been picking up '80s cards to rip for your channel, and obviously for
yeah,
fun as
80s,
well.
yeah, 90s. I've got a mix of everything. I've got a lot of fantasy stuff somehow. I managed to score it for a really good price. There was a guy, Sam Patama. I don't know if you've dealt with him,
Yes,
but
man,
he
he's
has a lot of
great.
packs. He's an
So
awesome guy. I just said, Sam, I've got $150 to spend. What could you do me? Did this massive spread on the table. Said I'll give you this, these, this. So mix of everything in that. Really excited about opening the NBA ones because it's a chance for me to redeem on my past and try and actually get some decent cards. I'm hoping for that Michael Jordan.
there
So
you go.
that'll be a cool wee rip when we open those ones. So he said some of them are pretty valuable, those cards, and they're certainly more value for me than it was for him in the money. So I really appreciate that, Sam. If you're watching, thank
Yeah,
you.
Sam's been incredible. He's been great with me too.
Yeah,
I bought my dynamic marketing boxes off him actually, and that's why
yeah. I think that's how I found out about him was
okay.
was because yeah, the interesting story how he came across all those cards too.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one on the show if he's willing to have a chat because I think
Yeah,
it's a very interesting story. Just like in the middle of nowhere and like part of New
yep,
Zealand that nobody visits, or unless you want
that's
to
right.
on an adventure, like it's a very
I
very
have been there. I have been there, and it's
have
not
you?
bad. Yep, been in the South Island. It's a bit easier for me to find them.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was living in
Yeah.
the South Island for a little while actually when I moved back to New Zealand. I was living in Motueka, just around the corner from you.
Oh, that's not far away.
Not
How
far
long
away
did
at
you live
all.
overseas for?
We're back here now. We're back overseas now, but I was overseas for 16 years, and then we moved to New Zealand for a year. And for the
Yep.
first, or it was about a year and a half actually. So for the first 4 months, we were living in my
Mm-hmm.
mum's place over in Motueka, which is beautiful, beautiful part of the
Oh,
country.
all
We
right.
just had time off work, had time for a break, and did a little road trip around. We drove we kind of bypassed Blenheim because we were going down south, but it's a beautiful
That's what
part of
most
the
people
country.
do.
Yeah.
Most people bypass it on the way to the ferry.
That's right. But you guys got amazing wine region around there. That's what I remember driving through. Just this
Yep.
beautiful landscape of New Zealand. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the country I've seen, I think. And I'd never driven through there before, so it was really fun
Yep.
to experience and appreciate it. And when you're driving through that wine region, you just see all of these brands come up. You're like, I've had that wine. I've had that one too. Wow! And you look at the space, and it's just gorgeous. Beautiful part of the
Yep.
country.
And I feel bad because I'm not a huge wine drinker. I'm into my craft beers,
Me too.
so not a well known thing to have beer come from here, but we do. A lot of beer comes from Nelson, as you probably know, with all
Yeah.
those the hop vines and that are growing. So there's plenty of hops going around. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a bit of a beer connoisseur.
as you should be. I do love a good wine too, but tell you what, those craft beers in New Zealand, I already miss them. I've been gone for about 2 months now, and I'm like, oh, the beer in New Zealand's so much better. And I'm not drinking a lot. You just need a couple of
Yeah,
cans, and that's it. And
yeah,
then
yeah. That's
good
it.
quality, good taste, and everything seems really fresh too. And I smell like everything about it is just great. So
Just good to wind down on a Friday after a hard week at work.
that's right.
Have a couple of bevies. And so, are you planning on coming back to New Zealand at all?
At the moment, it looks like we'll be coming to visit. I was
Yep.
hoping to come in August this year, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be on the cards for us financially or schedule wise. So I'll be
Hey, look,
missing the Auckland card
everything's
show
hard, isn't
too.
it,
What's it?
financially wise. Everyone's struggling a bit at the moment.
Yeah,
It's just an independent thing. Yeah, like we're all struggling, right? So you got to take those chances when you can, though.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true, and that's
Yep,
that's a big reason why we came back. Just it was a better financial move for us. But it's nice
yep.
to be back. I was pleasantly surprised coming back. We've been back for 2 months now, and everything seems to be going well. I do miss the car community in New Zealand, though. But that's why I guess I'm here. I'm trying to start things up. We've had a couple of little shows. We've got another one coming up towards the
Awesome.
end of this month. And we'll just, it'll be like four sellers, myself included. We'll just bring our,
Yep,
like you say, our extra cards. And I've already got plans to just kind of give stuff away to the kids, pretending they're buying stuff for, like
yep.
10 cents a card kind of thing. But it's
Yeah,
more for them just to kind of learn how to wheel and deal, and they love it.
yeah,
They have a great time. So
yeah.
it's
You've
going to
got to
be
start them young. You've got to get them into it from a young age. So I've done all I can, and 1 out of 4 is not bad.
fun. That's right.
Who knows? It could change. It could end up with 50-50 if my oldest daughter gets back into it again.
You never
So
know, man. You never, and I think at the same time they'll see you into it, and maybe the other two will somehow
yeah, I
get
think
into it.
once they start watching me open more packs too with these new videos coming out, I think because I quite often my oldest daughter's, can I open some packs?
There you
And
go.
it's just like, no, we can't do it yet, not until we do the video. So I don't know whether you saw any of my previous opening videos, but I did get my daughter involved, my oldest daughter back then. So I can imagine she'll probably be wanting to do a cameo on some of these future vids.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I
Yeah,
see your daughter does them in yours too. It's awesome.
yeah, she loves it. She loves it.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely something that I can use for bait for her to so that she will do what I want sometimes. Be like, if you do this, I'll let you open a pack. And she's like, okay.
Yeah. Yep, you gotta do what you can to get the jobs done around the house, right?
That's right. That's right.
How
Anything
old's
else
your
you'd like to
daughter?
share with us before you go, buddy?
Um, no, I think that's pretty much it. Just yeah, I'm going to be doing some pack opening, so check me out. I'm probably just going to use my existing YouTube channel. Not going to reinvent the wheel there. So just look me up, just Aaron Falvey. I'm sure my name will be on the screen, and maybe you can pop a link in the description,
Perfect.
Will, for those, and
Yeah, for sure.
happy to push people your way for your content as well because
Perfect.
it's great to watch.
Thanks, buddy.
But thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. All right, we'll
Yep,
keep in touch too.
yep. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.